Hello, world. What's up? Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Matt Forte. We are here live at the Build studio in New York City. Our next guest is a super talented individual. She's an actor, musician, a host, an advocate, a director. She's got a lot of irons in the fire, man. Now, you may have caught her most recently in Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And on October 15th and 17th nationwide, you'll be able to see her starring in the all-new Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Tickets are available now at fathomevents.com/reboot. Folks, the one, the only Harley Quinn Smith is in the building. How we feel about that? I'm excited. Are you guys excited? I am. They are. So I imagine you are too. We're going to bring her out in just a second. But first, I believe we have a peek at the film. So let's go ahead and run that clip.
Brace yourself. You're about to meet our love child.
I think I'm gonna need to see a blood test.
Hello? Mom! I told you to leave these meth heads tied up until the cops got here.
Okay. I didn't call the cops, and these guys are not meth heads, okay? They only look like meth heads because they're from New Jersey. Boys, this is my daughter, Millennium Falcon.
Dude, like Star Wars.
Millie, these are friends of mine from a long time ago. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
I almost killed the older one.
Older one?
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise. The great Harley Quinn Smith is right here. Do it up. Dude, welcome back on the show. How are you doing? How is life?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked.
Of course. You are the star of this film. You are wonderful in this movie. I got a chance to see it. I got a chance to talk to Jason earlier this week. It's so great to talk to you and have you here and have you back. How is press going? Is this day 2, day 1? How long have you been going?
It's day 3.
Day 3. I was way off.
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, this is day 3, and then we go back to LA right after this and do press there. So we're amping up for it.
Is it? How do you do on the press process? Are you cool with it? With people asking you a million questions over and over again, going different places, different outfits? Is it fun? Is it tiring? Both.
I always get nervous. I feel more comfortable playing characters than like speaking as myself. So I get kind of weird about it sometimes, but.
Your dad's really good at it.
Exactly. He's really good, and so I just kind of watch him and like let him talk.
Well, I was listening to, I think it was the panel you guys did at San Diego, and like, because you put it up as a smodcast, and like you can hear somebody will ask a question, and you know he's gonna get to it in like 40 minutes, but first he's got the preamble, and it cracks you up. I can hear you in the background, like he didn't even talk about what that dude asked about yet.
No.
So it's like I was wondering if you picked up on any of those traits. If I was gonna get at you, and like I only have like a time for like 1 or 2 questions. But
oh no, I'm the opposite.
Sweet. So we got a lot to cover.
I'm so down.
Perfect. I saw in doing press, I brought this up in the green room because I thought it was cool. You were just doing something with Snooki?
It was shocking. Yeah, I had no idea.
What'd you guys do? What was she doing there? Was it Jersey Connection?
I literally don't know. We were at Good Morning America, and we were about to do GMA 3, and they were like, by the way, we were gonna play this Generation Challenge game. And right before we went on, they were like, by the way, Snooki's going to be on your team for the younger generation side. And I was like, what Snooki? What's happening? And I was like, for the next like 10 to 15 minutes before we went on, I was just like, I'm going to be next to Snooki. Like, this is crazy.
Did you get a chance, like, because she's really nice. She's been on the show a couple of times as well. And, like, when she's not in front of the camera, I mean, even when she's in front of the camera, she's nice. But, like, she's a really smart, normal person when she's not doing her Jersey Shore, like, Snooki thing. And I'm just wondering, did you get a chance to, like, talk to Snooki?
So it just kind of happened.
They just threw Snooki at you.
Yeah, it just kind of happened. But she was really lovely.
Man, sometimes in life, Snooki just happens.
Apparently,
that's it.
Yeah, that's the life lesson of this trip.
Well, let's get into this movie. I'm super excited to talk to you about it. One of the things that I heard in that San Diego panel was your dad had got you casted for this role. You're the perfect part for this for you to play, and you get out there and everyone's doing a comedy. He was like, but she was like acting. She was like acting her ass off, and you had like a different approach and a different take on Millie than he or anyone expected. So I'm wondering, what was your preparation like coming into this project? How'd you get ready for Millie?
I mean, I knew from the start that since she didn't grow up with Jay as a father, she does kind of have this absent parent in her life. So that has caused her a lot of pain because she never knew where her dad went or why he left. So I always knew that she needed to carry that with her. So I wanted her to have, those genetic attributes that just you kind of naturally have from your parents. Like my dad and I both talk with our hands and stuff like that. So I knew I wanted Millie to have some of those, but I also knew that I wanted her to be a complete juxtaposition to Jay since she never grew up with him. So I knew that from the get-go, and I knew that her lack of a father in her life needed to play a big part in the person she is by the time we see her in the movie. So I definitely built a big backstory. That's how I was taught by my coaches, Deb Aquila and Donna Morong. And so I did create this whole backstory for her, and I wanted her to be very grounded since Jay is the opposite. He's all over the place.
On a planet.
Yes, he's
opposite of ground.
on another planet, and I wanted her to be very different from him. So when I brought that on the first day, my dad was like, what?
And I wrote a bunch of dick jokes. What's all
yeah,
that?
no, exactly. He was like, what script are you doing? And so yeah, he started to give me line readings on the first day, and we got in this huge fight.
Gave him a hard time for it, right?
It was a big deal. We were shooting like kind of in the swamp that day. We were shooting in a road, but to either side of us was a swamp.
Oh, right.
And so we walked like deep into the swamp and had an argument. And then we made peace and moved on. And then after that, he was like, oh, now I understand what you're doing, and this makes sense. And I was like, thank you. I know, I thought about it. So it was, we were on different pages to begin with, but very much ended up on the same page.
Well, because the last time that you guys work on a bunch of stuff together, but I think the last time you were in like a leading capacity and he was directing you was Yoga Hosers, right?
Yeah.
And that was before a lot of stuff for you, before a lot of experience and a lot of all the training and all those different things.
Absolutely.
And so I think maybe he just had like expectations of like, oh, I'm going to need to point her in the right direction, all this sort of stuff. But you came in like with a point of view and with a decision.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
I had absolutely no idea what I was doing on Yoga Hosers. It was very much a learning experience, and I feel so grateful to be able to have said that my learning experience was indeed filming a movie. But I very much did need direction then, but it had been like 3 or 4 years since Yoga Hosers, and it's been a minute. And in those years, all I did was go to acting school.
Study and train
Yeah.
and work. Yeah, for sure. Was it different? I mean, I know this is like the essence of acting, but like you've described your dad as your best friend. Was it hard to sort of get yourself in the mindset of someone who hasn't had a father? Because your dad is your best friend, so that's kind of all you've known.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is interesting because, Jay kind of acts the complete opposite of me, where he was able to really get into it because he's known me for so long, and that was his way into the emotion, whereas mine was to like shut everything from Harley off. And so that's just kind of how I've been doing it, but it was interesting to be acting with somebody who was doing a different technique, which was really fun and cool, and then my dad just saying nothing to next to him, being silent was just more shocking to begin with, because I was like, I've never seen you quiet in my whole life. So that was weird on that level. But yeah.
Yeah, that must have been really jarring, considering how much he talks, to have to finally see him in a silent capacity.
It was so the first few scenes we filmed, I was just like, what is happening?
Have you ever seen? I mean, surely you've seen some of what he's done, but like, have you seen Clerks? Have you seen Mallrats? By now you have. You've watched that stuff because like you have to.
Yeah. I had to.
Did he make you? Was he like, you're gonna watch this? Like, this
he really was.
No.
I went a long time without doing it because he would always say like, I was never really allowed to watch them when I was younger.
I was gonna say, do you remember how old you were when you finally did see it?
This was like quite recently.
Oh wait, really?
Yeah.
The first time you saw it was recently.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's
probably
wild.
like a year ago or
You
2
probably
years.
got insulted at this point.
No, that at that point he was really mad, and it was not more of like a you should watch them. It was like I'm mad and insulted that you haven't seen this. So it was more like if I wanted my dad to ever love me again. I needed to watch them.
Wild. So, if you saw it recently, what did it change, or like, did it color at all your perspective on your dad? Like to see him in the to see the movies that he made and know that he was the creative force behind those, and then also to see him being goofy and shit and walking around and pretend to smoke weed and whatnot.
Yeah.
What did that do to like your opinion of your dad when you saw that stuff? Because it's pretty recent. That's wild.
Yeah. When I was able to watch Clerks for the first time, it was on his birthday at Vulgarthon. And so I was in an audience of some of his biggest fans watching it. And that was a really crazy experience. And in that moment, I was like, oh, I get it. I understand why this made such an impact. And being able to watch it with all those people was really cool, too, because like just seeing how much they admire him and everything, and getting to watch his most famous film with them was really cool. And I think, I mean, I love my dad and I always appreciate him, but in that moment I was like, oh, I get it now. I get why people really like you.
That's pretty cool. All right, well, talk to me more about. I want to talk about more about your experience, and okay, it was weird that he was quiet, but also, you grew up with Jay was around a lot, I'm sure, so he's kind of family as well.
Yeah.
Was it weird, or what was the experience like having these emotional scenes with him?
I like never see Jay cry.
Yeah.
Ever in my life. So
Concerned?
I mean, I was when it was happening. I was like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" But my dad was like so stoked. But yeah, no, it's crazy. I'm so close with Jay, and like we've lived in the same house. He has my name tattooed down his back. Like we're pretty tight. So to be able to play his daughter, especially after seeing him become a father, was so special because he means the world to me, and so does his daughter Logan. And to be he's like the best father in the world. So yeah, no, he legit. He's a little psycho about it, to the point where my dad is like, chill. But I don't know. It was really special to see him play a father after being such an excellent father in real life.
You just through the nature of like the stuff that you worked on, you've done a lot of comedies, but you've also got Student Body, which is coming out, which I think is a horror movie. That's not really a comedy, right?
It is a horror movie.
Yeah, okay. And you were in Quentin Tarantino's movie, which must have been freaking amazing. Is it important for you to kind of balance out to make sure that you're doing a bunch of different things? You're doing horror, you're doing drama, you're doing comedy. Like, is that a big focus for you to make sure you're getting a little bit of everything as you're getting out there?
Absolutely. I love comedy so much, and that's what I've started out doing for sure. But I think deep down I do kind of prefer drama.
Prefer it.
Yeah, I think it's more of a challenge. It's more difficult to create a whole different backstory for drama because there's so much emotion that goes into it. So I find it more challenging, and so I like it more. But I do absolutely love comedy. And doing a horror was very weird. It's
Really?
yeah, I've never really done one like that before. So it was
What was weird about? Can you guys, is it like spoilery if you tell me stuff about it? Like, what
just
was?
like a lot of blood and stuff, which I just wasn't really used to. And it's like it's very intense because there's a lot of high stakes in the film, and so like having to keep that up all the time and lots of tears and everything. It was definitely it was quite hard. A lot harder than I thought it would be. Yeah.
Was it hard to at the end of the day to walk away from that, like after being scared all day or being sad or crying all day, to have to leave it behind and then go be normal? Did it take time to decompress and get out of that zone?
A little bit. I didn't really sleep much during that time. I think I was really amped. So yeah, no, I mean, it was just a totally new experience, something I thought I was prepared for, but I don't think I was prepared for it at all.
Did you was Student Body before or after you were in Quentin's film?
It was after.
It was after. Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, in Quentin's film is a horror as well, but this. That there was so much going on.
That's a total.
That's like a whole different world.
That's a different world, exactly. No, I mean that's a bucket list to be on one of those sets, to be in one of those projects, to work with him. That's for a lot of people. That's that's it. That's the goal. And for you to have checked that box off at such a young age, it's such an amazing thing to have achieved and done. What was that experience like? What was it like being on that set and being around that guy?
I mean, it was an absolute dream. I've looked up to him for so long. I've had a Pulp Fiction poster next to my bed for many, many years, and he's been my favorite filmmaker for forever. So to be able to watch him in person doing his thing and be able to learn from him and observe him was really like, it felt like being in school, but a million times better. And I learned so much more than I ever did in school.
There's no better classroom.
Absolutely.
Be on that set
not.
and be there in the thick of it and see it happening in real time.
Yeah.
He notoriously, very famously, no cell phones on a Tarantino set, which typically not a big deal. You are a person of a younger generation. Was that a challenge to be without your phone for some time?
It's so sad that could be a challenge.
You'd be surprised what we hear. But
No, totally. It was actually one of my favorite parts about the film because we did have to check our phones in every day.
Yeah.
I at the beginning, I just kept my phone in my car because I was so scared to even bring it anywhere near. I was like, honestly, just someone steal it. I was like, oh my God.
What's the phone?
Yeah, I don't even have a phone.
I'm writing letters. I know what you're talking about.
I'm being really method. But it ended up really being like my favorite part because it really forces you to connect with people and to talk to people. So I made some of my best friends on that film. Like Mikey Madison, who plays Sadie, is now one of my best friends in the world. And that's because we had so much time to sit down and really connect, and I couldn't really divert to my phone if I was ever uncomfortable talking to anybody. So it was like we're talking, we're singing songs, we're reading books, we're playing games while on Spawn Ranch, and that just allowed a lot of beautiful relationships to be made. So it ended up being like one of my favorite parts of the film.
Yeah, that you were just in that world.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty incredible. You mentioned something in telling that story that I didn't even think to ask you about, was just what were you thinking the night before the first day? Like, how nervous were you, like, for day one? Like, when you were going to, like, walk on to a Tarantino set. What was it like the night before? Did you even sleep?
Oh, no, definitely not. Definitely not. I mean, I pretty much read like every single book I possibly could on the Manson family in that era, and every documentary, and I just kept rewatching stuff at a certain point. So I'm pretty sure like the night before I was just rewatching every documentary I possibly could, and on the way I made a playlist of music from that time, and I would listen to it every day on the way to set. And it was so surreal. I couldn't believe it. It still feels kind of surreal.
I got to imagine if Quentin gives you a line read, you're not fighting with him in the swamp.
Oh, absolutely not.
No,
I'm like, anything you say, whatever you want.
Your dad that? You were like, well, he can give me whatever line read he wants. That's Tarantino, man.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. We are in a little bit. We're gonna go. We got some questions in the room. But another thing, and I mentioned this in your intro, director. I saw you just recently directed your first project, and it was the music video for your band.
Yeah.
Which is pretty badass. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's very loaded. You're an amazing musician, and you've directed. Tell me a little bit about that experience. Why you wanted to direct the video?
Yeah. I mean, I've known I wanted to be a director for a really long time, and I've been writing for as long as I can remember, and I've always kind of like debated what I wanted to make first, what I wanted to be my first project, and this just seemed so right because obviously my band is like my whole heart, and this idea just kind of came to me on a plane one day, and when I landed, I called my bandmate Taylor, and I was like, I think this is what it has to be. I think we have to make this. And it just happens like so seamlessly. Everything kind of fell into place where it was like, okay, this is meant to be. And I feel so thankful that I was able to, take two of the things that I love and put them together. Yeah.
How long you been playing music? You play bass, right?
Yeah, I play bass.
Yeah.
I started playing bass when I was in middle school, and then I kind of stopped for like 4 years, all of high school. And then after that, I went to a show one day with my bandmate Taylor, and we were both just like, "Wait, why aren't we making music? We should be doing this." And then I picked it back up and remembered just like riding a bike or something.
Yeah, I play bass too. Bass is super valuable because everyone's a fucking guitarist. But people always need bassists, man. Everybody needs a bassist. So like you can always find people to jam with and play with.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I always tell people that like if anyone ever asks why I play bass, I love it so much because it's like sometimes people don't even hear it in a song, but the second you take it out of a song, it's like something's missing. And so I think it's such a special instrument.
You guys, your stuff is on Spotify. The 10th is the name of the band.
Our band is the 10th.
Your
It's
band
on
is the 10th.
Spotify and Apple Music, all that stuff.
And the music video, where's the easiest place they can see the music video that you just did?
YouTube.
YouTube, just go to YouTube.
On
look
our
it up and
band's
stuff.
YouTube.
Are you guys, I know you're like in press mode and you're doing stuff for the film. Are you guys going to gig anytime soon? You got anything on the books? Or
We're writing our next album
writing
at
the
the
next
moment. Yeah, so we've been working on that, so we're kind of in writing mode, and we're hopefully going to release it and tour with it next year.
Have you ever thought, it sounds like you're doing all your stuff on your own, and that's awesome. Have you thought of writing something with your dad? Or are you guys just two different styles?
Oh man, I actually have never thought of that.
Really?
No.
That's crazy.
That is kind of crazy, actually. I've never thought about that. Because he's always been like, my whole entire life, like when I was a kid, I used to love the show iCarly on Nick, and he would always be like, write an episode of iCarly. And so like that's how I started writing, was like writing episodes of my favorite shows. And so he's always like encouraged me to write, but and sometimes like we bounce ideas off of each other for sure, but I've never thought about like actually co-writing something with him. That would be pretty dope. I'll propose it to him. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna turn it over. Before we go to the audience, get those questions going, I want to remind the world that this fantastic, hilarious film that Harley stars in, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. If you head over to fathomevents.com/reboot right now, you can get your tickets for the 15th and 17th nationwide release. Fathomevents.com/reboot. Get them tickets. See this movie. Have a damn good time. Kate, how many questions? I got at least 2. Fantastic. So we're gonna do one question right now. You got a microphone? Come on over.
Hi, this is a question from our website. What was the best part of playing Millie?
My favorite part about playing Millie is how badass she is. She's like super, super fucking tough, which is like the absolute coolest thing. A part of it's in the trailer, but like when I first meet Jay and Silent Bob, I hit them. I injure them. So like she's just really tough. She has this exterior shell to protect her from all the absence of that she has from her father, but I really love how tough she ended up being. I think that's my favorite part about her.
She is. She's very much a badass.
Thanks.
Great question. I'd love to get at least one more. Let's go. Bring it on down.
Hi.
Hi.
If you were to be cast in someone's biopic, who would you want to play, living or dead?
Courtney Love, for sure.
Wow.
It's my biggest dream in life to write and direct a biopic about Courtney Love and to play her. That's like my biggest life career goal of all time.
Have you met her?
No.
No, not yet.
Yeah.
Well, she's backstage right now. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That'd be fucking awesome, though, right? You just walk out here.
I would piss my pants.
Yeah, no. But we do have Snooki. Snooki, come on out, right?
Oh, my good friend.
No, we don't have that either. I'm sorry. It's just us.
Man.
I want to thank you so much for coming back and hanging out with us. It was so much fun having you here. And congratulations again on this movie and all the amazing stuff you got going on. Student Body, this film, the Quentin thing is huge. Your music, the whole 9. Go take a nap.
Thank
too
you
much.
so much.
You got too much stuff going on. Hey, everybody at home, go ahead and get those tickets. Fathomevents.com/reboot. October 15th and 17th nationwide. The film's out there. Get your tickets. Go see it. Thank you for your questions. You guys are a wonderful audience. Do me a favor. Make a lot of noise and join me in thanking the great Harley Quinn Smith for being here. Thank you so much.